Okay, so what I thought I would kind of show you is how I do like some hashtag research, like before, like what I'm gonna add when I do my posts. Um, some stuff about reaching out to brands and then just like kind of creating the Instagram post too. So whenever, I guess, let me think about the best thing. So whenever I'm getting ready to do an Instagram post, usually, I draft it out, and you can do this however you want, but I'm just telling you the way that I do it. I have it as like a note on my iPhone. So usually I'll write that out first. So then that way it's just all ready to go and I copy and paste. You could do that from a Google Doc or whatever, because typically when I'm posting to Instagram, I'm doing it from my phone and not from the computer. So I'm just gonna give you an example here. Let's just to kind of show you, like I have this running, I don't know what you call it, I guess a note or a topic on my notes on my, like, that I have on my phone, where I just put all of my social posts. Like, so I just called it social posts, and it's just running list, and I have my new content up at the top of it. So like this was the one when I was getting ready to do the post about when you sent me your introduction. So I had it typed out here, and then I did my hashtag research, and all of that's there so that I can just copy and paste when it's time to put it into Instagram. Obviously, there's lots of ways to do it. I was just kind of showing the way I did it, so it's already on my phone. So another thing that I like to use is before I put it in Instagram, I run it through this site where it you can format the spacing better. So I'm gonna grab that real quick and just show that to you. Um, let me see. I'm gonna grab the link real quick. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. And then I'm going to, let me get this up real quick. Sorry, it's not flowing so smoothly because I just was thinking all these things I wanted to show you. So this, and I put a link to this on the shared document. So what I do is from my phone, I will copy and paste the content in there. Because sometimes when you just copy and paste from your phone or from some shared doc or whatever, it comes up kind of funny on Instagram. I'm sure you've probably seen, like, it doesn't have like the space between the paragraphs. So I'll put that in there on my phone. And I always just kind of go back and just make sure there's spaces where I want them, put that here. And then, delete the space. And I usually put a new one just to make sure. And then I have all the hashtags, and we can talk more about suggested places to put hashtags. So some people put them right in the caption. Some people put them as their own comment. So if I put them in the caption, I'm going to do a few spaces. Now, this is just my own preference. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. Some people put images, or some people put, dot, dot, dot. So it does some spacing in between. All right, so then you just convert and copy to clipboard. If you click this button, then it's basically like saving it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it into wherever you go, right? Okay, so that's how I use that site. Now, if you want to do any kind of fancy formatting, if you want some bold stuff in your caption, there's another site here that I use sometimes. So you can say like, hello, and you can decide if I want it like bold or whatever. So then I could just copy and paste this, right? And then put it right into my Instagram. Or, these are how people do the different fonts. If you ever wanted to get, if you had maybe some heading that you're talking about, right? Or like top 10 ways that da 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 da, and then you list them out, right? If you wanted to bold that, then you could just copy and paste from any of these. Not that you choose this one, but if you wanted to, right, you could copy that. And then when you go to type into Instagram, then it should look like that. So I'm doing this from my own account. I'm just going to choose something real quick to put in there. All right, just so and I'm not going to be posting this, but just so you can kind of see, like when I put this in, You see how it just pastes like the exact font that I was using before, and then that will show up on Instagram. Okay, so I'm gonna not put that put that on my Instagram, but that's just kind of to show you what I do with that. So let's say you're gonna do an Instagram post about your French bread, and you come up with the caption, and now you want to do some keyword research. So I'm going to kind of show you how I would go about it. So let's first start out with like French bread. Okay, I'm going to look at that hashtag. So if you can see, there's quite a lot. So when you're thinking of hashtags, or you're coming up with doing some hashtag research, you want a mix of hashtags that are very popular and not quite as popular, right? So this French bread one is probably a good one because there's quite a lot, like 192,000, whatever. But that also means it might be kind of competitive. But I'm going to click that, and let's just kind of see what we have there. So it looks like there's a lot of kind of commercial bakery stuff, at least the first few things, right? I would look more at like content that I'm looking at creating. Like these look like they're more probably made at home or something, right? Okay, so I'm just looking this one. Let's see. So this is a bakery. But again, it just kind of gives me an idea. If I click, so see, I'm looking in the top post. So this is giving me an idea of what Instagram considers top posts. What are they going to be showing first? And if you look, there's lots of nice images, right? This is of just the bread. So this one had 450 likes and 12 comments, right? So just kind of looking, that one not as much, but I'm just trying to kind of see what they have in common, right? And look at the colors and look the way it's set up. And any of these I can click on and try to get some more hashtag ideas, right? Okay, so here's more, they're maybe not as relevant, or breadstagram, right? Let's just try that. So let's look up the breadstagram hashtag, and let's see how that's doing, what the deal is with that. So that's another probably good one, 348,000. That's a lot, and it's going to be a little competitive. Okay, but you can see what's coming up here. Now, if you think about the type of image that you're going to be putting up, if it's not just a picture of like bread on its own, then I probably wouldn't try to use the hashtag breadstagram, right? Because you can see as I'm looking, there's only one person in these top pictures, right? And look, she's got like 2,000 something likes and all these comments. So the chances that a smaller Instagram account is going to be able to compete with this is kind of small. So let's just say, let's try one that might not have quite as much. Let's do like make bread maybe. So see, make bread only has 12,000. So that might be a little better to aim for. Or it's not to say you can't do the French bread one, but I usually just kind of do a mix. So make bread is another hashtag I would maybe use. And I can look, okay, what are some of the popular ones? And then I would maybe click on one that looks like something, something people that you might have, like you might have an image of you making the bread, showing your creation, right? And then I can get some more ideas of hashtags to use. Do you see this person here is using life is good? I tend to not use too many of those like real general ones, because I would bet that that's got probably a million something whatever people using that hashtag. So yeah, look at that, like 27 million. The chances that you're going to come up for a life is good are pretty slim. Let's try one that might have a little bit less. I'm going to do like maybe like kids in the kitchen. Let's see, because like let's say for your post you might have, well, that's kind of popular, right? Kids in the kitchen, 354,000. But you can get some other ideas of, if you didn't, want to use kids in the kitchen, here are some other ones, but I probably wouldn't go as small. Obviously you're not Cooper. I wouldn't go as small as, like, if you use kids in the kitchen recipe, that only has 11 posts. People aren't most likely looking for the hashtag kids in the kitchen recipe, right? Okay. You could say, I'm trying to think of another one. Maybe like make bread with kids. Okay, so that one really has not very many. Okay, so I probably wouldn't use that either, because I had like 5 people using that hashtag. But what you could do is click on one where people are using it and just get some more ideas of hashtags that you could maybe use that you didn't think of, right? So this person has bread making, bread in a bag, if you do it in a bag, or things to do with kids. But again, things to do with kids is probably going to have a whole bunch of competition there. So I'm just going to click on that and let's see things to do with kids. That's not too bad. So that might be one if your post is really about making bread with the kids. Okay, so that just kind of gives you some ideas. And you can decide, you can play around with it. So let's see this top post. So that's what I like to look at. Where did they put their hashtags? Notice this top post, they put them as a comment and not part of the original caption. Okay. This one here, put it as part of the original caption. So that's just something you want to play around with and see what works best, or sometimes do it one way and sometimes do it another way. So let's talk about, I'm trying to think what I wanted to talk about next. I'm just kind of looking through my notes. We talked about getting it ready to post. Okay, so then, all right. Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about is just with Instagram, as you know, obviously it's very visual. So I like to, not that I'm trying to copy anyone, but I'm just trying to kind of see what works and what's coming up as the top post, right? So things to do with kids, you see a lot of families, which obviously makes sense. You see most of them have a kid in the picture, but not all of them do. Like if you look at this one here of the owl or whatever and other animals, it's not always just the kid in the picture. This looks like it's only a mom in the picture, right? So I'm just kind of looking to kind of see what they have in common, these things that are making it to the top post. All right, so this has a whole bunch of likes and a few comments. That was not too much. Like, this has a lot. So let's just look at this person's account real quick. That's what I kind of see. Who's coming up first? They're about the same size as Cha-Ching Queen, 20,000 something followers. So I think that might be a good one to use. And you don't want to use the same hashtags over and over again. So on one of the posts, maybe on the next post, you could say things to do with kids, but I wouldn't use that on the post after that. Like wait a few before you use it again. All right, let's see what else. So, you can do the in feed post. You can also do stories. So that might be something I do. I show you like from my phone, maybe when we're together, a little bit of all the options with stories and adding links. I know we've talked about that a little bit. You can do reels. All right, so let's start talking about reaching out to brands, right? So, let's say you want to, like you've been talking about, get the attention of HelloFresh. So let's see what people are doing. So I'm going to put in the hashtag HelloFresh. Okay, so you see that's got a lot of people are using hashtag HelloFresh. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're working with HelloFresh, right? But that just means they're making the meals and stuff, right? So I'm just kind of look and see what we have here. So this top one right here, let's see what we have. So this person, obviously they made a dinner last night. It doesn't look like it's sponsored. This could be the case of where they're just trying to get the attention of HelloFresh, right? So let's look, I'm looking at their hashtags, unless they're not disclosing and it really was a partnership, which it could have been. Do you see? Because they are an influencer. So it could be, but notice HelloFresh responded, right? Because they mentioned them here in the caption. And then HelloFresh said, hey, looks fantastic, whatever. So they responded, they saw it. And they also probably tagged them in here. Yes, so they tagged them in the image. So let's look, this one looks like it's sponsored, right? So just to get an idea. So this lady, yeah, so she did the whole thing. She got the box, and notice she has a disclosure. Well, it's kind of disclosure. We'll talk more about whether that's enough just to say brand ambassador, if you should really be saying ad or sponsor or something like that. So somehow she's working with HelloFresh, right? We don't know whether she's getting the free meal, she's getting payment, she's getting a mix or whatever. Okay. So here's her sponsored post. You can kind of get an idea about what she's talking about, how she uses it, right? Okay. So I just want to see her account, see what she's doing here. So she's not that big, and she, obviously got some kind of opportunity, some, the campaign with HelloFresh. So that's good to know. What I also like to do is let's look at the HelloFresh account and just kind of see what kind of stuff, what are they sharing, right? Or what are they posting? So if you notice, most of the things they're doing themselves are just of the food. They don't have that many people in them, but that's okay. I'm just going to look at the stories. Let's see if they have some stories going, but they are sharing other people's content in their stories, it looks like, right? Okay. So if I'm trying to get their attention, here are some things that I would do if there's a brand I want to work with. I would look through these pictures, not necessarily comment on the first one. If that captures, if that gets your attention, then yes. But let's say if you look through, oh, that's really cute with the box and the kid, right? Oh, okay, that's cute. That's a Halloween. So I would maybe comment like, this person did it, how creative, or I love that idea, or something, or we should have kept our boxes and done that, something to that effect. Or if you look when, say, oh, this pizza looks amazing, or flatbread, or whatever that is, right? You maybe comment on that. And if you want to follow them, do a few things or comments, if you're doing this from your phone and you see this story go up, or I guess you can, let's see, you can do it on the computer too. Oh, that looks amazing, the cheesy fried eggs. I never thought to do it that way, or something, or you could reply there. Okay. So start getting their attention, but say some relevant comments. Okay. And follow them. Now, here's what I also like to look at when I'm trying to get the attention of a brand. Okay. So we can see their followers, right? We can see their posts. We can see who they're following, but let me show you something more interesting, right? So we see who they're following, what type of accounts. Okay, so I'm doing this from my, Rachel Belkin Instagram. So this is a woman I follow here in Austin. She does fitness and stuff. So, right, that makes sense that HelloFresh is going to be following her. So I just kind of look and see what type of accounts they're following, right? They're following a lot of verified ones, but also just like, it looks like some regular like healthy people, like or health bloggers or whatever, right? I'm just trying to see if, right, healthy family project, whatever. Okay, but here's what's neat is you can look at the hashtags that people or that accounts are following too. Okay, so this is what you want to keep in mind is, so there you can use HelloFresh pics, HelloFresh. Now food, look, that's going to be really competitive. Okay. But just to give you an idea, so if you didn't have anything with HelloFresh yet, and you happen to be using HelloFresh at home, and you do a post, right, just to maybe get their attention, or just, not to say every post that we do on Instagram has to be sponsored, right? So you could just do it on your own, but I would maybe use some of these hashtags that they're using, right? Actually, they don't have that big of a list, but use the HelloFresh hashtag and HelloFresh pics, right? That just kind of gives you an idea of things that they already follow. All right, so that's kind of how to get the attention of HelloFresh. And then once you get their attention, then I would send them a message. All right, so I'm gonna try to, let me see if I can find an example of one I've done in the past. Let's see. Since I don't have access, I'm not on the Instagram, on the Cha-Ching Queen Instagram account, I was going to bring that up, but we could probably do that together. But basically you could say something about like, hi, we're a healthy family, both my husband and I run, and we have, two kids under, I mean, I'm sorry, three kids under four, and we're a really busy family, but we still love to cook healthy, and I'd love to talk about how we can work together. Who would I need to talk to about that? Obviously, you're gonna make it sound a little bit nicer, but just off the top of my head, that's kind of what you want to say is, here's a quick thing about us. I would love to work together. We already use HelloFresh. Who can I speak with, or who would I need to talk to about working together? So that's what I would do on that.